All right. Hi, Starlings. I'm Vanessa Montgomery from Astro All Stars. And today we have Chris Skidmore, one of our FAA 2025 conference lecturers. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hey Vanessa, I'm good. Thanks for having me
Thank,
on here.
no worries. Thanks for stopping by. So, just for anyone to catch up on what we're doing here, we have the 25th International FAA Astrology Conference, which is the official Aussie Astro Conference, as I'm liking to call it these days. It is in January 2025. Bookings close actually November 30, end of November. So you do have to get in quick. It is live only. This is not going to be recorded and streamed. So let's go old school and actually meet up with each other. I'm so excited. It's international. We have people coming from everywhere, including Chris is speaking, including me, some old favorites and some new faces as well. So that is the 16th of January to the 20th of January. That's a Thursday to a Monday. It's at the Gold Coast in Australia at the Novotel Hotel. It's going to be at midsummer. It's going to be so hot, but you're going to be in aircon. You can have a beautiful beach down the road. All right. So you can find all of this at faainc.org.au. So faainc.org.au. Check out the speakers list, check out the itinerary. It's all finalized and you can book through there, and anything else you want to know or contact is through there. So let's get to Chris. We're going to be talking about Chris's presentations, which I'm looking forward to. And you have two lectures, Chris. Can you tell us about them? Let's start with the first.
Yeah, sure. So that one's a lecture and one's more of a interactive kind of experience plus a lecture. So the first lecture is on it's the ancient god of healing Asclepius
Mhm.
from ancient Greece, and he would do his dreaming through do his healing through dreams and actually appearing into people's dreams in these dream chambers called the abatons. This is in actual history as well as mythology. So it's an area I've actually just come back from. So I was in Greece just a few weeks ago, and I was at this place, Epidaurus, where you get to actually experience these kind of dream chambers, or at least where they used to be. And so it's really it's taken my fascination. I've been an astrologer for a while now, about 20 years, I guess, studying and practicing for about the last 10. And my question was always like, where does astrology fit in? How does this thing actually work? And for me, bringing the symbols to life, which is kind of like what I would say is a dreaming process, like animating them, bringing them to life has been kind of, once I found Asclepius in this tradition, it was like, oh, that is what I feel like I'm actually doing. And so what I'm going to look into in this lecture, the first lecture, is this relationship between Neptune, which you can hear as like the dreaming process, and Chiron, who is actually Asclepius's teacher and a planetary body in our solar system. So I'm going to look at those two in our own charts, in their cycles, in their synodic cycles, and the different things that those two get up to together, and just kind of like treat them as Neptune, the dream world, and Chiron, the healing world, and how these two sort of interact. And looking for ways to enliven that kind of more creative process when it comes to the healing world. So that's the
Great.
first
That
one.
sounds right up so many people's alley, including mine. Interesting
Yeah.
combination. And I expect people will have questions for you, which they can ask because you've just come from this place. Very interesting.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And to be actually embedded in these Asclepian temples, they're always built where there's a hot spring and a cold spring. And, it's a very rich tradition. There are about 300 of these spots all throughout ancient Greece and throughout ancient Rome. And it's something we might have lost track of within the healing world. And so, or, like these were kind of like physician priests, basically. So it's a place where I like to see, we're so split in our world around medicine and healing and what have you. And I like to go back to a time when that split was not really there, or just there's just a little section of history where the invisible part of healing and the more visible part were like operating in unison. So it's a really rich area to explore. Every time I'm in Greece and I go to these places, I can just feel it all coming alive. And so I'll do my best to take other people along on that journey. And I think people are pretty ripe for those kinds of things these days. So
Yeah,
I'm
exactly. The
excited for it. Yeah.
sounds great.
Time.
And
Yeah.
lecture number 2, you've actually built it as a double lecture. So tell us about that.
So I live in Bali. I've been here for 8 years, practicing astrology and also craniosacral therapy, which is a form of body work, and I'm a psychotherapist. So these are the three things that I do. And while working for about 4 years, I worked at a yoga studio here called Radiantly Alive. And I was encouraged to do workshops here. And in the end, what I decided to do, which I did as sort of a monthly thing, was something I named Soul Constellations, which is like family constellations, but I take the family part out and more bringing other parts of the self to life. So it's kind of like I guess, an internal family system sort of field. But what was really cool is I used astrology. I used the planets. So I didn't have people's charts, but I would spend about an hour just trying to get people up to speed with astrology, which, as you know, is not easy to do in an hour. But just to give like Mars is this, Venus is that, the very basics of it. And then someone would come up, they'd be in the center, and then they would choose people to play their planets. And what I saw again and again is like the natal chart just kind of arising into the field through other people playing the roles of, say, the moon and the sun and the different planets. So, imagine being able to actually have a conversation with your Mars or with your Jupiter or, with any of them, or even watching them have conversations with each other. So it's really interesting to see like how two squares would have their conversation. The thing is that I didn't actually use the chart to do this, but then I'd look at the chart afterwards to see, just kind of reference like how accurate the chart was to what we saw in the field. And so I'll be talking about that process. And then the intention right now is to actually run one in the room.
Yeah,
And so
right.
rather than just talk about it, let's experience it, and how the field operates and organizes all of us into a chart quite naturally, easily. And
Yeah, so
yeah,
experiential, I like it. So you've got the best of both
yes,
worlds there. That sounds
yes,
amazing. I have heard about these sorts of, it's a bit gestalty, I suppose,
yeah, it's
things, but I've
gestalty.
never participated. So this is a good chance for
Yeah.
people to experience this. So
Yeah, and I guess they would call it like astrodrama or psychodrama or some kind of combination of those things. But the weird
yeah,
thing is, every time I ran these, it was like something else took over. The field really is intelligent, and that's the thing that I want to sort of display with this, getting a sense again of the 3D-ness or whatever it is, the aliveness of a chart, and how at any given point it can come alive and you can speak to the planets, and that can be really kind of like bringing it off the page.
exactly. He's got to open the door.
Got to open the door.
So that's great. I feel like you've answered the why you're presenting these. That was my other
Yeah.
question. Do you have anything else to
Okay.
add to your why you want to present these particular topics?
I mean, I've been working with Brian Clark for like the last 4 years, and this is something that when we sat down to talk about what I would present, he just encouraged me to go with what I really love, to go with what I'm really about, and how I'm showing up in the world with my own form of astrology or my own nuance of it. Like we all have some different thing we're bringing to it, some different flavor. And so he encouraged me to go with what really animates me, what really activates me and gets me going in the world. And so those two things, the sort of dreaming process behind healing and behind astrology itself, and the constellations as they are as living beings talking to each other and talking through you and talking to you, uh, they get me most excited. They get me up in the morning. So that's why I brought those along.
Great, perfect. Sounds really fascinating. So you can catch Chris and you have to be there live and in person. And why wouldn't you want to be live and in person, especially it's experiential? The field, exactly. You talk about these things with your first talk as well. you know, we're transported when we tap into that. And I think that does work better in real life. There's a lot of freaky stuff that can still happen with the field online for sure. I don't doubt it, but in person, it definitely is next level. So come
Yeah.
along. The 25th FAA Astrology International Astrology Conference. Remember, it's the 16th of January to Monday, the 20th of January, 2025. Registration closes end of November 2024. So you have to get in and book. Go to FAA. Oh, hang on, what is it? FAAinc.org.au. And that should all be posted along with this video. If it's not yet, it will be. So thanks a lot. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks, everyone, for having a listen. I'm Vanessa Montgomery from Astro All Stars. Have a great day. All right, I will end recording here.